Hi guys, so this week in the Spec Ford Racer we are at Okayama Short. I'm still using the same setup I used last week for Summit Point, as I drove it here and I found it quite stable and nice to handle. One nice thing with this track, having come from Summit last week, is it's a lot smoother. The curbs are all smooth, you can hit all of the curbs. And the track has very few bumps in it, so it's a lot nicer. You're less worried about spinning and more worried about just getting the maximum out of the car. Before we start the lap, the first thing that really helped me was turning on all the detail, turning on all the objects. I'd been driving before without being able to see any of the bridges and some of the trackside objects, and turning them on has been a huge help for references. Another thing to mention here, I usually shift around 55, 5600. I'm coming towards turn 1 in 4th gear, and I go quite a bit over that because I can't, I don't want to bother shifting to 5th and then back to 4th. For turn 1, I get on the brakes just after the bridge, which I can now see, which is a real help. And I shift down from 4th to 3rd in a straight line while I'm braking. Don't forget, you can get really hard on the brakes in this car, pretty much full brakes, at least initially. So I turn in for the first corner around this shadow here, which I can also now see, woohoo! And I'm coming off the brakes at this point and turning in, looking for my apex. To me, the key for this corner is apexing late. You can see I want to be touching the inside tyres on the very end of the curb here. If you apex too early, you just won't be on the gas at all on the way out of the corner. You'll just be waiting for the front end. So always try and get the end of the curb here on the right. I found the best way to brake for this corner is to turn so you're pointing towards the apex, which I've just done where we've paused the video, and then brake in a straight line heading straight towards the apex. I've tried it different ways and this just seems to be the most consistent for me and generally a bit faster as well. So I'm in 3rd gear here, and I stay in 3rd through this whole next section. And the key out of these next 3 corners, we've got the 2 right-handers and then the left-hander. The key corner for those is the last one, because that's the one that leads onto a straight, and then if you can carry more speed onto that straight, then you're going to gain time all the way down there. So these 2 right-handers are all really for setup for the left-hander. So you can use all the curb on this second right-hander. Sometimes I come through here and it just feels so slow, and I think, oh, I must be able to carry more speed, but then when I do, I'm going wide and I'm not getting as good a line into the left-hander. So you really are giving it up here to improve your speed through the next turn and onto the straight. Another thing to mention here is applying the throttle. I could be fully on the gas at this point, but with this setup I find if I'm on the gas really early, often by the end of the corner the front end's starting to run wide and then I have to lift. And I really want to lift early in the corner, really get set up and then get on the gas and stay on it. So I'm getting on the brakes around the 50 marker and shifting down from 4th to 2nd. So I've made it into my apex. One thing to consider here is you don't want to go all the way out on the exit. Again, this is a corner where you're giving up your line and speed through this one to help you in the next one. You can see I'm most of the way over to the left of the track here, and never all the way over because that's just a lot of extra distance, and also you're going to open people up to dive bombing you down the inside here. So I just lift and turn in for this one and try and find my apex. There it is, I found it. Yay. Big thing on this corner is smoothly applying the throttle on the exit, and depending on your set, again, it's really easy to get understeer or oversteer out of this one. So I'm not full on the throttle all that early, really modulating it all the way to the exit. I'm turning into this one just as we've gone past the little tower on the left of the track behind the fence. I take this corner in third, and then after the corner I stay in third as well. So I just made a slight lift as I come into the apex. This curb, you can use all of it, but don't go more than all of it, if that makes any sense. If you put the inside wheel off the inside of the curb, there's quite a sharp drop there, and it's really easy to get out of shape. So I stay in third, as I mentioned, and a quick stab of the brakes as I turn in. This is more to load up the front end of the car than to slow down, as I've mentioned in the previous video. Into your apex here, you can really pick up the throttle early. I'm starting to get on it now, and I'm full throttle all the way to the exit from just after this point. Okay, so we're just going to go through another lap or two here and see how things go. Okay, so I nearly missed my apex there, but I managed to get it in just towards the end of the curb, which I'm okay with. A bit wide there as well, same thing, I came in a bit too fast, but I just tried to make it back in for the end of that right-hander to get lined up for the left there. And you can hear there I messed up my shift into second, and I was kind of hunting for gear all the way through that corner, but it didn't really cost me any time. This lap was only a couple of tenths slower than my last one, and I didn't lose it all there. So just don't panic when that happens. Wave to the guys in those houses, who have an awesome view of the track, by the way. That would be such a cool place to watch racing from, and I guess free. So using all the track on the entry there. I've come into the curb a bit early, but I still stay on the curb until the end of it, so that's okay. Alright, a bit better this lap on that corner, right tight on the inside. Lots of curb there as it happens, but that's fine. It's really smooth with the steering inputs, trying not to upset the car. A lot of the steering is done with the throttle in this car anyway. You know, you get the steering to the right angle where you're fully loading up the front end, and then your line is going to be determined more by your throttle. What is it they say? The steering's for the coarse inputs, coarse adjustments, and the throttle is for the fine adjustments. And there we go, there's another lap. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you again soon.